Hey YouTubers, thought I'd do a first video here on selecting a carry gun. Now, the timing on this isn't great because we are right now, as I'm recording this in 2018, finding that the established YouTube gun channels who knew what they were talking about 5 and 10 years ago and have done a great job of it. I'm talking Yankee Marshall and Hickok 45, Military Arms Channel, people like that. They're talking right now about how YouTube is essentially trying to shut people down who talk about guns online and so forth. And wouldn't you know it, I finally have been carrying concealed and working with firearms for now that same kind of 5-10 year period. Feel I have something to say, kind of know a little bit about what I'm talking about, and this may never see the light of day, but we'll go ahead and give it a shot anyway. So what you see in front of you are 3 different firearms. These 2 are quite similar, as you can see, and this one's a little different. Let's start on the right. This is a semi-automatic 9mm pistol. All these guns have been safety checked and they're empty. This is a Ruger LC9S. I like it very much for its round. The 9mm is these days really quite powerful and seen as adequate at the very least for protecting yourself against animals, 4-legged and 2-legged. At least the ones that I'm likely to encounter here in the woods of Maine. This is not going to stop a moose. I'm not going to be going where I expect to see moose. But other than that, I think it's a pretty effective round. I like that this gun is very slim and very light. I also chose it because it has a safety. Now, a few years ago, had I made this video, I would have said absolutely never will I want a safety on a carry gun. A lot of people that feel that way, and it's a valid point. But I decided that I wanted the additional safety of having the ability to lock this gun down so that just in case someone got their hands on it who shouldn't, it would be a little more difficult for them to fire it accidentally. And I've trained myself. This is a a striker fire double action only. You don't carry it cocked and locked, but you kind of do because it's cocked. I've racked the slide. It's cocked and locked, but it does still, if you take that safety off, it has other safeties such as this trigger safety. It's drop safe. And it has the long double action trigger pull of a striker fired gun. So it's not a hair trigger or a very light trigger like something like a 1911 would be, a single action pistol that you carry cocked and locked. So I like it very much. It shoots very well. I've put Talon grips on it. Very happy with it. Very happy with it. But as a first carry weapon, it's actually not what I would recommend. Or as a first gun. One problem with double actions, semi-automatics I should say, sorry, is that you have to look very carefully to see if there's a round in the chamber. You have to look very carefully to see on some of them whether they're cocked or not. I mean, you get the hammer back here and so forth. Contrast that with a revolver. Now this is a J-frame 38. It's not even a plus P marked on the barrel, but I believe it will handle plus P. But this is a Taurus J-frame 38. I believe that this is the perfect weapon for someone starting out. The manual of arms, if you will, the way that it's run is extremely simple and straightforward. You can see if it's loaded. It is or it's not. There's no question. All right. You can see if it's cocked and single action and a light trigger, or if it's not and it's a very heavy pull double action trigger. You can see it. You can just right away see what's going on there. Yes, they only hold 5 rounds or 6, depending. Larger ones 7 perhaps. But it's been very well documented that in 99 out of 100 uses of a personal defense firearm, that's more than enough. Most uses of a personal defense firearm are very close quarter. You don't even really use the sights, and 1 or 2 or 3 shots takes care of it. Now, if I was buying this again, though, I have now found, this is my new purchase. Again, you can tell it's empty. This is also essentially a J-frame. This is a Ruger SP-101. It's with a 2 1/4 inch barrel. This was a 1 7/8 or 2 inch, I believe. But you can see right here, this is rated for .357 Magnum. The best all-around cartridge, bar none, for personal defense, home defense, and hiking out in the woods, defense against critters. You know, up to, I would not be too concerned about my ability to take care of a small bear in our woods with 5 rounds of .357 Magnum. Other than that, this gun has exactly the same manual of arms and advantages that I discussed with the Taurus. You can see when it's loaded. You can see when it's cocked. It's got nice rubber grips that came from the factory to help absorb the amazing recoil of .357 Magnum. But here's the real advantage to this firearm and why I would recommend it as a first purchase. A gun chambered in .357 Magnum can take 38 special rounds and plus P rounds. So you can shoot 38 at the range, save money, save recoil, save blast. You could even maybe choose to use 38 in this firearm, or maybe 38 plus P in a home safety kind of situation, because you just don't want all that noise and blast when you're indoors. And 38s quite often will do the job, but then you can pop .357 in here if you're going out to the woods and might encounter something bigger. The weights of the firearms are about the same. The size is about the same. They both fit the same J-frame holsters for me. I've never seen this called a J-frame. Perhaps they do somewhere, but it seems to be a J-frame for all intents and purposes. Now, recoil with .357 with this is not trivial by any means, but boy, oh boy, if you are looking to defend yourself or your family, that's going to be the least of your worries. .357 Magnum round gets the job done. The only thing more powerful that I would even consider carrying out in the woods, like a .44 Magnum, but you know, I don't want to keep and maintain and keep up to competency with too many different firearms and too many different rounds. I don't foresee the need to have .44 Magnum on my hip very often, and I feel perfectly well protected with .357 Magnum. So that's been my choice. Now I still have a holster for this. It is smaller, lighter. It is a 9mm round. For an urban environment, I would feel perfectly fine with this. But I have to say, I also really like the way that a revolver carries on your hip. If you look at this, you put this in a belt holster, and you're going to find that this cylinder, while it looks all fat, you're going to find that it just goes right into the natural curve of your hip. You've got the short, thin barrel then out on the bone of your hip, and then these relatively smaller grips up above your hip, where you can usually naturally absorb that a bit of extra space. Now this is a smaller enough gun that the grip advantage isn't quite as obvious. You look at other semi-automatics, such as a PX4, any of the Berettas, you name it, they're going to have a thicker double stack grip that's going to be longer, thicker to handle the 12, 15, 17 rounds that people quite often carry in their semi-automatics. And that's when this becomes even more an advantage. But that's why I chose this gun. This actually really does have a very nice form factor. It's a little slabby, but it fits against your hip in a holster very well, carries very unobtrusively. So those are my choices. Hope you enjoyed this. Leave your comments down below and look forward to talking to you later.